dusk. The first and only time I caught a sheephead big enough to eat, black and white and breathing in my hands. On my way to get ice, I got distracted, tossed Dad's keys in the water. I was a good Catholic. I walked him to the spot and pointed. I made up a lie, but I named everyone I loved to God before falling asleep in my yellow room every night. God was a word person. After 2 Hail Marys and an Our Father, I'd be good again. Like my words, I knew where the keys landed. I've tried to write about this before. For over a year, I made myself guiltless, couldn't preserve the thing I caught or get the syntax right. I didn't know about currents. I can't keep anyone safe. Visiting Amber at Lowell Correctional. A windowless room. Mom and I remove shoes, socks, spread our arms wide between the cinder block wall and locked door. The guard takes a swallow of V8 before patting us down. Inside, I ask Amber if this is a maximum security facility. She tells me they've got her in here with murderers, like the gardener. Worked at a daycare, killed a few kids there, buried them alive. They gave her yard duty until she began to name the trees she planted. Josie, Maggie, Stephanie. Slicing deep into her thighs, she mortared her wounds with shit and got gangrene. In a wheelchair now. Don't want to think about her no more, Amber says. Seeing her every day is bad enough. An inmate takes Polaroids, $2 each, acrylic wall paintings in the background. One of an angel, feathers fanned out against a pastel sky. Stand here, Amber says. I want you to have wings. She's to my right, our mother to my left. We smile big. When I dream about my sister, she's a child. In our Florida backyard, wide-eyed and silent. She fills buckets with garden snakes, catches strawberry-necked lizards poised with the want of a mate. With one hand, she holds a wriggling lizard. With the other, she hinges its jaws open, then closed onto the lobe of her ear. This is the title of my manuscript. It's called The Amoeba Game. I stood at the stove, holding a wooden spoon in my right hand, listening to butter sputtering against the splattered circle of an egg. Perhaps it was the flapping of the egg's wavy edges against the steel pan, or the amorphousness of its innards outside the carriage of its brown shell. I remembered an odd game I played in Brownies, the Amoeba Game. In the front yard of the scout cabin, one girl at a time would become an amoeba and leave the rest. We didn't know what amoebas were, only that they weren't human or animal, and moved like 1,000 blind legs treading through molasses. So it was that our heads and arms became legs and feet, undulating wayward into dusk. Swaying our shoulders left to right, we'd giggle through mouths we weren't supposed to have, pretending we had no eyes and didn't know where we came from or where we were going. Bar poem. I'm here on the patio, no appetite, drinking a salty margarita. I feel my liver, ignore it like last night's glass of water. I'm tired of writing you down when I should be writing poems about place. Dusk hits beyond the man playing the red accordion on the corner, and the strays of Yash bark out a score backed by dissonant frequencies of the evening bells. This morning, I took a walk and found a noseless man pumping gypsy love songs on his accordion. I stared into the holes of his face and thought about the girl with the green ribbon around her neck. Had you read the story backwards, we might not have lost our heads. It's late. What time is it? I ask a poet who isn't you. There's time enough, he says.
That man's still playing that every day.
You know. I didn't make it up. This is a section from a long poem called Derivatives. I couldn't unstick the poem on my walk in the rain, but when I reached the market in Berchen, the curbside cabbages calmed me. Crenellated pyramids of cabbage, spring green and veined, each head stabilizing at least several other heads, like a network of humming, healthy minds, and the waxy squeak of one when pulled apart from the rest. 2 more. I was trying to write a long poem for a long time, and it got shorter and shorter, and it looks like this. It's called, I said, fuck it, I'm calling it long poem anyway. It's called Long Poem Bucharest. I'm the person I was afraid I'd be. A blonde spider on a park bench, spinneret suspended, threading diacritics between your teeth, in the name of the etymology of need, of violence and force. I'm beginning to realize my long poem may be a person I can't avoid. A snake in the blade of a lawnmower, striped segments curling in the air and slapping onto my thighs, a blood just like mine. My mom my mom was mowing the lawn one time and she decided to run over a snake in Florida. There's a lot of wildlife. It was a really bad idea. And I thought about it for about 25 years and finally could write about it. Hunger. I stared at my favorite foods and ate the words for them. Just yesterday, I ate 10 sarmale. A pile of mamaliga kubrunza shismuzana had room for more. Now my mind was a mouthful of anaphoras, and you were a man incapable of natural love. At your parents' house, your father forked a piece of crispy fried brain onto my plate and waited. I rolled the salty custard around on my tongue and swallowed. I didn't want to like it. I liked it. The coffee was sweet, the garden ungardened, and the dog dug a honeycomb fractal in the dirt. We stood beneath the tallest evergreen in the village. All the birds in the village, in this tree. It was November, outside Bucharest, but sounded like spring in Boston, birds in the bamboos outside my window. Your father drove us back. 101.9 Romantique FM aired songs of loss in English. We passed a jail, some plowed fields. We unpacked, sorted leftovers. I could feel that small bite of brain acidifying in my stomach. I wanted to shit it out, be done with it. Didn't want to think about thinking or feel the thinking inside me. Later, in a living room of friends, no one spoke, and you were in charge of the music. And you already know how this will end. My thoughts were thick with rooms. We went to separate beds. At dawn, I woke to a man in the apartment below, belting out in broken English the chorus of bad romance. Outside the window, a woman on the 5th floor shook out an area rug, beat it with a broom. Your cat came over and sat on my chest. I laid awake thinking of the brain in my gut and repeated a line of verse scribbled on your bedroom wall. Oh, how long it's been since I've seen the sun glowing above the sun. You were still sleeping. You slept well.